Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Doomlink's Life Hunt. So I've got a bit of a smile on my face, feeling quite beatific. I'm quite happy to say that everything's under control again. As you can see, can you not see that everything is under control? I feel that those of you who watch me live probably don't quite understand what goes into making a live stream look just right. This is almost it. But I'm a bit of a perfectionist. It's hard for me to be truly satisfied with what I've got. But, which might come as a surprise to those of you who think that it's not that great all of the time. But I try to imagine that those people don't exist. They probably don't. Hopefully they don't. But, yeah, things are under control. And they look a whole lot better than the last live hunts that I did. The last live hunts that I did was almost like me giving in to the desire to actually have myself on screen, and obviously, as a consequence of that, I was, not very well presented on the webcam, but this looks much better. The angle is just right, the distance is just right, everything's fine. I think the audio setup is okay. I haven't heard it yet, but it should be fine. And we're even here in Freedom 1 on top of all that, so I'm pretty happy. I got a room light installed. I was actually under the misapprehension that I was going to be able to dim it to get it to the perfect brightness that I wanted for recordings. Unfortunately, the dimmer switch that's in this room is a very old switch that cannot work with this new LED light that I have in my room. It was actually working with an old fluorescent tube. And that's problematic because it would require an additional installation. Anyway, I don't even know what's involved. I didn't ask. I didn't realize that the brightness of this was problematic. But I fixed it. Not the light, but my recording setup so that it would look okay. I can assure you that I have not gone into my exposure settings, which presumably relates to, I don't know, aperture or the amount of light that's allowed into the webcam. I'm surprised that those options even exist, to be honest. But I had never gone into those settings, and like for the entire time that I've been using this webcam, which is the entire duration of my live streaming career. I hate calling that a career. It's not professional or anything. And so, as a consequence, I looked really, really bright. I looked way overexposed. It was awful, and I was really frustrated. I thought I was going to have to get a dimmer switch installed that would work with it, and therefore it wouldn't be appropriate for me to go live today with my webcam setup. I was even ready to do an update video showing you what it looked like, so that you didn't have to take my word for it when I said that it was just totally inappropriate. However, I went deeper into the settings of my webcam, and again, I'm really glad that I had access to these, and I just reduced the exposure by a tick, and consequently, everything looked perfectly fine as a result, and I was able to fix my chroma key. Everything is in alignment once more. You can probably tell the exposure is lower for those who are familiar with photography and what's involved with all of that. You're probably used to seeing a very well illuminated subject with low exposure. Well, not used to, but you'd probably be able to pick that out. That's why I look so black. My hair looks darker than usual. My clothes look darker than usual. It's just, the colors are sort of popping. I would say that I look a little bit too orange, but let's not go into that. That depends on your display as well. Some displays would make me look less orange than others. But basically, it's gone from being completely inappropriate, like just substandard, unusable, this is terrible, to being really, really good, considering how bad it looked before. So I'm glad that I figured it out. I obviously got my brain in gear and figured out a solution, and consequently I can now record today, and probably from now on without any issues. So that's good news. Cheers, everyone. Morning coffee. Had to get up early. It was an 8 a.m. appointment with the... Appointment? It just sounds totally It's just not the right word to use. Basically, the electrician had a job to do here, and the time was 8 AM, so I was up to do that, but yeah, here I am, live and waiting for 3 of probably the staple first-gen hunters of Hunsterverse. It's Hellscythe, Hey AJ, who is now a viewer of mine, and Yurley. Some of you will be familiar with Yurley. I've played with him both in Freedom 1 and also in 3 Ultimate. So, just waiting for them to return now. Hopefully they continue playing for at least a little while, because much like the previous livestream, I am sitting here live, ready to play, but whether or not I can do a full livestream is going to actually depend on the people that I'm playing with. Are they going to be here for long enough to sustain 2 hours worth of a live stream? I don't know. We will have to find out. It looks like for many of you, it was like a live stream to start the day and then another live stream to end the day. Which is strange, because I swear both of them... I swear it's been 24 hours since I last did a live stream, so I don't know how that's happened. That's at least how it was described to me, or at least implied by Peaberry. I might have misunderstood. But anyway, hello. Nagakuka, Simply Rome, Peaberry, and Enten. And even Mihukat, which I guess, you know, hi and bye is usually how I would greet and then farewell Mihukat, because he's usually here for about 2 minutes before some sort of crippling attention deficit disorder kicks in, and he has to go and stop watching me. I don't know, but that is what it is. Apparently they're doing double Diablos in the arena. I don't know, I may as well show the chat just so that you can keep track of what's going on. I don't know if that's just what they're doing now, or if they are literally grinding the quest. I hope they're not grinding the quest, but we'll find out. Presumably they're... Well, I don't know if they're actually engaging both monsters at the same time, or if they're doing the technique where you... I don't quite want to call it cheese them, but you can make it so that only one of them is being engaged at a time. I demonstrated it once before. I think it may have been in Freedom Unite, but it's also a technique that can be utilized in first generation. It's where you get one of the monsters to, or rather you get both monsters to stand at the opposite end of the arena to where you enter, and they'll actually stay there when you leave. And then when you come back in, you can just pull one of them back to the other side of the arena, and it just works out that way. Of course, it couldn't possibly work if you were to do that in 3rd gen or 4th gen, 5th gen as well. It's really only 1st and 2nd where that sort of strategy could work at all, because the monsters, when they're not in combat in the later games, so beginning with Monster Hunter Tri, they'll actually roam around the arena. And I think that was... It's hard to know if that was deliberate. It's hard to know if Capcom was aware of that exploit and then made it so the monsters would roam to prevent that, or if that was just a natural progression through the game design, like a situation where they want the monsters to actually be doing something when not in combat to make it more realistic, to make the monsters more dynamic and alive. It's probably more likely the latter than the former, because the former would suggest that Capcom had their finger to the pulse of people playing their games. I don't really know if that's true or not. They probably had... Well, that's probably unfair. They probably were aware of what gamers were doing in Japan with their games. Not in the West, of course. Love the show. That's cool. Do you know the band? Merciful Fate are my favourite band, personally. One of. It's unfortunate that I'm having to wait so long, but it also works. I decided to go live before they came back, specifically for the reason that I had a lot to talk about. And yeah, obviously I have been bedeviled by the lack of a room light for my recordings for about a month now, so that's actually been resolved entirely. And my elation is obviously a consequence of thinking. It was like an emotional roller coaster. I was like, oh, finally I've got this taken care of. And then I set up my webcam and then I realized, oh, fuck no. I still have to try to figure out how to dim this light, which would probably involve the installation of a new switch. So then that meant it wasn't resolved yet. And then I figured out on my own how to fix it by just changing the webcam settings. I know it sounds really obvious. Oh, just change the webcam settings, but it's not really that way. You have the settings that you'd normally be playing with, but there's deeper settings. So for example, depending on lighting conditions, there will be an auto adjustment to the exposure that will happen inside the webcam, but you can actually get in there and make manual adjustments. Now, that's precisely how I made it so this looks fine. If I weren't able to do that, I would have just had to change the light. And some people would say, oh, I'll just get a better webcam. This webcam's fine. It's just that, you know, you're not always going to be able to have access to those sort of parameters. Anyway. Hello, AJ. Apparently you did die and now you're waiting to go back in. So, I guess in the meantime you can just watch the live stream. Not that I'm doing anything, of course. Maybe this is an opportunity for me to check and see what I can do with my character. One of the things that really bothers me about this game is that I don't have many armor sets. There's no real reason to make many armor sets. It's because in first generation Monster Hunter there are less skills. There are less armor sets that you can make for specific weapon types because of the lack of skills. Like there's no... what's an example of what I mean? There's no focus or anything like that because greatswords and hammers... Well, hammers do charge, technically, but greatswords don't charge, so focus really isn't necessary for a greatsword set. There's no evasion skills in the game at all. So that means for a bowgun set, for example, if it were a heavy bowgun, I wouldn't have the option of getting evade extender. Just in general, imagine all of the different sets that you would otherwise be making almost being rendered impossible to make or pointless to make because of how different the game is. So, as a result, there's really no reason for me to have multiple sets. I'll show you the sets that I have, and really the only change that I plan to make to them at this stage, without having really gone in depth into the skills to see what I could possibly do. The only change that I intend to make is to get an armor set with literally the same skills but with higher defense. It's going to be a Kirin mixed set or something. So, it's basically the same skills as this, but, as I said, with like a mix of Kirin for higher defense. That's not to suggest that this set is substandard. It's just, I guess, an area of improvement. There is potential for improvement, and for that reason I will do that once I'm willing to bring myself to fight a fucking Kirin. Which I'm not really willing to do, unless I've got a good team, because it's unpleasant. This, as you can see, is a guard-focused lance set, but I think you'd be ill-advised to focus on the shield, or rather rely on the shield of a lance in this game in the first place. I think really you should be using something like this. This armor set here is a response to this armor set, because I was using this and then I was actually playing the game and realizing, well, I'd actually rather have sharpness +1 on these lances. I felt like I would get more use out of them. Or rather, more use out of the lances and more use out of the sharpness +1 skill than I would out of guard +2. It just didn't feel worth it. So I made this set. This is my main lance set now. That's fairly obvious. That obviously can be improved upon. But, yeah, Auto Tracker really is for multi-monster quests, so that way I don't have to actually paintball all of them. It's fairly obvious why that would be helpful. And then this here is just a general use set. I would use this with pretty much everything except a lance, or a bowgun. As for my bowgun sets, that's it. Attack up small, PSS up. I don't have a normal bowgunning set, maybe I could get one. Yeah, maybe there's room for additional sets for me to forge for gunning. That's actually a good point. Aha, there's also the... what's it called in this game? I forgot what the skill is called, but it's basically the auto-reload skill. It's something weird. It might even be called load up, I can't remember, but it's basically auto-reload. In this game, they actually balanced it correctly and made it so that every single type of ammunition has maximum recoil, instead of just the shots that were affected by the recoil stat. But it's still really helpful with certain shot types. So I would like to make a set with that. As I recall, that is the skill that comes with Crimson Fatalis. Oh, apparently that was a triple cut. Let me just go and eat. Are you guys going to keep doing Diablos? I don't mind. I just wouldn't want to do it maybe more than 2 times. But at the end of the day, it's your room, so I'll let you hunt as you please. I will speed up through this. Hello, Beta. So yeah, the Crimson Fatalis gunner armor is something that I would like to make. I have fought a little bit of Crimson Fatalis, but not quite enough to make the set. And I have been using Crimson Fatalis materials for Fatalis weapons. So, yeah. Now, these guys are hunting in Hall F. You will note that you can actually fit 10 people in a single hall. For that reason, the default setting is to take you to Hall A. And then to actually be able to select different halls, you have to go into your settings here, go to Option Settings, and select Manual for Select OL Gathering. So, Gathering Hub. I don't even know what OL means, but anyway. I'm sure I could work it out if I applied myself. Now, there was a Hunsterverse, or continues to be a Hunsterverse award for getting 10 people in Hall F specifically. I was there for the first time they did that, so like the original. It wasn't meant to be Hall F. We had originally done it, I think, in Hall A, and then we decided, oh, we'll take it to Hall F for one reason or another. So it ended up being, I can't even remember, what is it, Resurrection F. What does it say? F1 as a Resurrection F. The idea being that it sort of brings people into Freedom 1. It introduces them to the fact that the game actually exists, and then it might encourage more people to play. I don't think it's a bad idea at all. There is G-Rank P-Berry. So, Monster Hunter Freedom 1 is effectively a... Oh, I understand what you mean. I understand what you mean. So, it's funny, I feel like I would have explained these things while you were around, but maybe not, because some of the things that you're asking about, P-Berry, makes me realize, actually, you haven't heard my explanations about all this. This has to do with how confusing First Generation is. Everything you see here is G-Rank. It's just the concept of what G-Rank armor is was changed in later games. So Freedom Unite really was a significant change to the series where it very clearly delineated high rank from G-Rank, but also low to high to G. I can't actually remember all the details now because it's been so long since I was going through all the ranks here. But low rank and high rank are not as clearly defined. It's a bit of a grey area. So low rank and high rank, if I remember correctly, will not give you different materials. You're just going to get a higher chance of better materials. I mean, certain materials from monsters may be locked behind high rank, but they are not high rank materials per se. The actual idea of having a scale and then a scale plus would be the difference between low plus high and G rank. So this is dictated by quest star level. So these star level quests, I think, now let me just look. Yeah, so this is all going to be G rank, so that's the G rank quest giver. Low rank, I think, is village, and this is all high rank, except for perhaps star 1 and 2. I think 1 and 2 star are low rank, and then possibly beginning at either 3 or 4 star, you will enter high rank. It's just really unclear and very confusing. I do accept that. So that's the reason why, you know, based on the knowledge that you would have of future games, you would look at this armor set and think, oh, this is a high rank armor set. It's not. It's just, you know, obviously the next level of armor from the standard, which is low rank. But in this game, it's not just low rank, it's also high rank, where you're going to be using that standard equipment. So therefore, this is G rank stuff. It's confusing. Now, you will see a remnant, a little bit, of the quests, like the star level system, in Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, and Freedom 2 by extension. If you go into the online hall in Freedom Unite, you'll notice that you can actually depart on quests in low rank in stars 1 and 2, possibly 3 as well. But they're noticeably easier than the other low rank quests. Same idea here. So you will get worse materials, in other words. Wyverns of the Land and Sky. Is this silver and gold? Or is it azure? Oh no, it's pink and azure. So that's what it is. It's not... Yep, so you can have standard Rathalos and Rathian for Wyverns of the Land and Sky, and you can also have the metal Wraths. But for pink and azure, it will actually be called pink and azure, which is really helpful. Again, there is a lot of stuff that is not clearly defined in first generation Monster Hunter. Just what I was describing there, the idea that you can have two quests that have the same fucking name, and yet it looks like they're the same two monsters, but in one case it's a subspecies, and then in another case it's not a subspecies for both. And it's not defined whatsoever. The only way that you can actually figure it out is to either memorize which quest number it is in the list, or go based on the comparative Zenny quest reward figure. So if you look at the reward for one of them, and then compare it to the other, whichever one has the highest reward is going to be the one with the subspecies. You know, simple shit. Like, just writing the information is something that didn't happen in first generation Monster Hunter. So, there you go. I might bring a lance, because I've been talking about lance. I went to edit instead of equip. Don't you find it to be totally nonsensical that edit comes before equipment? Like actually equipping it? I certainly do find it nonsensical. Alright. I don't think I have a thunder lance in this game. I'm sure I'll make one at some point. I might bring the poison lance in that case. This is an ugly fucking lance, but it's good, I think. I think it's good. Could be wrong about that too. Hello Hossein, good to see you. This is now the usual time. I want to impress upon all of you watching that you're not going to see me streaming at the old time anymore. Maybe on very rare occasions. Oh, what? Come on! I just organised myself for Wyverns of the Land and Sky. Fuck's sake. So what is it now? I'll probably have to change my weapon. It is what it is, I mean... It's because I'm doing a live stream, so I'm monologuing, so it just slows down my preparation time. I'm not sure which one this is. Is this Double Diablos? Probably. I thank you for your forbearance. I just am not keeping up with the constantly changing objective. I shouldn't say constantly changing objective. When the objective changes, it throws me for a loop. So, if it's Diablos, I suppose I'll just bring Black Tempest. Keep it simple. It's 2 Rathalos. But is it standard Rathalos? If it's standard Rathalos, I'll bring White Disaster. Yes, thank you, Ethan. You've given me a new nickname now. It's lovely. Metal Wraths. So, okay, I will... I will use whatever I was using before. Okay, that was a really roundabout way of wasting my time, but that's alright. So in other words, I didn't need to change what I was using. It's just I saw an event quest, a Japanese event quest, assumed that they were continuing with their double Diablos, because I can't read the quest name. And I don't think it actually tells me what monsters are included in it. It might do. Maybe I just am extremely unobservant. Let's find out. Is Doomlink an idiot? So one of the good things about me getting that, well, this is really complicated what I'm about to explain, so I have to rely on my ability to communicate with the English language to not confuse you. So originally, I used to play the European version of this game. Now, if I wanted to experience this game without input detection issues, I would play the Japanese version. Now, obviously, the Japanese version can depart on Japanese event quests, but the European version can't. Things that have changed a little bit now. Hello, Yuli. What's changed now is that I don't actually need to play the Japanese version in order to experience no input lag. And because I can't depart on Japanese event quests with the European version, I'm instead using, God forbid, the US version. It's like a matter of principle. I never use the US version for any game that I play, but I kind of have to for this one. And you see, I'm not suffering the consequences of poor input detection either. So when I used to go back and forth between the Japanese and European version, I now just stick solely with this version of the game, the US version, because I can join Japanese event quests, and also, courtesy of that mod that I have to remove input detection issues, which I was talking about in the previous video, I don't have that issue either. So, that's very good. Alright. So this is a nastier... Oh, it's not a nastier version of Wyverns of the Land and Sky, because it's one at a time. That's good news. Obviously, aiming for the wings, that is the weak point. Not sure why I was the only one aiming for them. Never mind. Gold Rathian was just outside of my field of vision. I'm sorry, I didn't actually bring flash bombs. I really should have done that, so that I could possibly contribute. Now, of course, we attack the Silver Rathalos first, because he, for one reason or another, has lower health than Gold Rathian. Not sure why. But yeah, those of you who play Freedom Unite will be very familiar with the quest Descendants of the King. This is effectively your first-gen version of Descendants of the King, but it is Japanese DLC. Unless you have the Japanese version with the DLC downloaded, you can't actually play this quest. So therefore, the non-DLC version that is closest to Descendants of the King is a locale-based quest with gold and silver called Wyverns of the Land and Sky, which I thought had been posted before and I think had been posted. And that takes place in the swamp. They do have the same hit zones, yeah. At least I believe so. Pretty sure they do. What may have changed is the elemental effectiveness, but I'm pretty sure that the actual physical hit zones are the same. At least relative to one another. You know, the value, like the amount of damage you might do has likely changed, but whatever the best hit zone would be is probably unchanged. My DPS is pretty poor. And obviously it doesn't help when I'm getting hit. Oh my god. Nope. Nope. Well, you saw that I dived. And do you know what happened there? I got hit not just with the original tail flip, I think I got hit by the follow-up. I didn't even know there was a follow-up in the older games. There might be and there might not be. It just looked as if I got hit by a second attack. There was nothing I could have done there. I was literally being pushed up against the wall. I was anticipating that I'd be charged by the Rathian. She instead waited until after I had dived, and then did a fucking tail flip. Almost nothing I can do with that. Of course, I'm in a much more precarious position now than I was before, because I have 100 health instead of 150. Okay. I'm just keeping my shield raised, and there goes all of my stamina. I can't see shit. This is a stressful confrontation. Yeah, I mean, of course the poison could have killed me, it just really had the appearance of a second impact. Not sure what's happening with... Oh, I think that pitfall trap's glitched out. It must be in a spot where it can't activate. For some reason, I don't really have an explanation for why. Yeah, that fucking tail is a nightmare. Let me get out of here and heal. Now, again, worth mentioning for those who are not aware, when a monster is pitfall trapped in first generation Monster Hunter, the monster receives double damage. So it's an extremely effective way of taking care of monsters quickly, dispatching them in short order. I'm not sure why they thought that was a good idea. I understand the logic of it. The monster's more vulnerable, perhaps, when they're being trapped, but what is it about a pitfall that makes them so much more vulnerable compared to that of a shock trap? They're still stuck in one place. In fact, in my opinion, it would make more sense for a monster to receive double damage with a shock trap than a pitfall trap, because with a pitfall they can still physically move. You can see them flailing around, right? But with a shock trap they're actually paralyzed in one spot. So as much as I was about to give Capcom the benefit of the doubt with that and try to make sense of it, it actually doesn't make sense at all. Which is probably the natural, I guess, logical progression in your mind. It is to first assume that Capcom knows what they're doing, and then you start to think about it, and then you realize, oh, never mind, they were just doing random shit. Literally random shit, because that makes no sense. But anyway, that's the Capcom special. Oh. She went straight into another tail flip. Well, not a tail flip. Glad that didn't fucking hit me, that would have been my death. I thought I had turned myself, but I guess the animation that I was in at that moment hadn't actually completed when I thought it had done. There you go. My nose is being a bit uncooperative, shall we say. Obviously, dual blades is a better setup. Because you can just stand in one place and beat on the monster, whereas I am having to be slightly more methodical. I don't actually have anything Kirin related. Don't have any armor, don't have any weapons. I do need to change that. I'd like to think the reason why is fairly obvious. Oh god, that's dangerous. Are they going to be okay? If I had life powders, I would support, but I do not have them. Oh. Here you go, got a knockdown. Did you see how quickly she just turned and ran at me? Literally couldn't... maybe I'm just slow, but I couldn't even mentally process what was taking place fast enough to deal with it in that moment. I'm probably just mentally slow. It must be because I got up early this morning. The trap has been placed almost in another dimension away from the monster, that's how far it is. If I go towards the wing, I'm probably going to get hit, but by my teammates, that is. But fortunately, Yuli repositioned. As you can see, no diminishing returns when it comes to trapping a monster. It will be just as effective the 10th time you use one as it was the first time. I suspect this has been very noisy, like a very noisy hunt. Well, maybe not. I say that because the sound effect of the thunder is very, very loud when you've got 3 dual blades all demon dancing at the same time. But it looks okay. I was just looking at the audio levels and it seems tolerable. Didn't have the stamina to block both the movement of the legs and the tail, which is very annoying. I might make a potion in that one. I just feel so powerless when I have a lance. Despite having a shield, I just feel like I can never use it, because I'm too busy hitting the monster. There you go. I'll go and carve our friend the Rathalos first. As you can see, even the quest complete message is in Japanese, if you're doing an event quest. Nicely done though. A little bit chaotic, and I do recognize I didn't assist all that much, because I didn't have any traps or flash bombs. I travel very lightly in this game. Ugh, don't remind me of the hyper metal wraths from Generations Ultimate. I try to forget about those monsters. Oh, what a surprise, P-Berry. No stamina recovery items. How very unusual. No. Just get rid of something else. Get rid of the... Well, I'm certainly not going to be able to store these. Might sound quite sad, actually, but I don't think I have space for 2 slots in my box. Oh, for fuck's sake. What do I not need? I guess... my drinks? It's not an easy life when you've got no space for anything, ever. I would like to save. Yeah, I'm definitely not getting rid of my paintballs, that's not happening. I will have to put away my stuff before I buy more potions. You start to really notice the lack of storage space in your inventory, considering that you can't send stuff to the box when you're fighting more than one type of monster. If you're just fighting one specific type of monster, usually you'll have enough space in your inventory, like you'll usually dedicate a whole page, right? Well, that wasn't even enough. So when I say that I travel lightly, you can see why. You've only got 2 pages in your inventory, and you have to take all your quest rewards into your inventory. That's why I travel lightly. Yes, there are ways around it, but I guess I'm too lazy to figure it out. Or take the time to tailor my inventory to that system, whilst also bringing traps and then combination materials. Like, the concept of bringing combination materials when you've got only 2 pages of inventory that need to store quest rewards as well. It's enough to make my head pop. Anyway, I'll be back in a moment, just need to visit the bathroom. Well, it has to be said that despite my setup looking pretty good on the live stream, this is really hard to actually get into, or get in and out of. I'm either stepping over cables, or quite frankly, I'm at this stage tempted to just try to duck under them. Get on my hands and knees like a fucking dog, and just... or do the limbo, can always do that. Although that's rather a waste, if it's not on camera, isn't it? Alright. What's our next hunt? I suppose I'll have to visit the room to find out. Unless it's being discussed in the chat. It is not. Oh, Garuga. Okay. I will once again bring a lance. This time, White Disaster. Now again, for those who are not familiar with first generation, Garuga in this game is actually treated as a special monster, in much the same way as a Fatalis would be treated. Technically not an Elder Dragon, but for some reason, Garuga is practically Elder Dragon tier of difficulty. A lot of health, and also has repel quests. So, It's not a minor thing. Considered a very high-level fight within the game. I'm just making sure that they're still in Hall F. They are. Just wasn't really expecting to join an empty hall. Yeah, if you're finding a really big Garuga, not good. Yeah, of course I've hunted a few Garuga on camera, just not recently. So, it'll be good to demonstrate that again. Obviously the composition of the team is optimal. If you had people who just were not adequately leveled for the fight, you wouldn't be killing it, you'd be repelling it. Simple as that. But we should be able to kill it. In fact, we certainly will. I wonder if it would be better to bring... what's the black one called? Well, black Diablos or white Diablos. Probably black in almost every scenario, I would say, but I can't help but use elemental weapons. I do have a penchant for them, and it's not going away anytime soon. I just like to be able to deal that damage. Yeah, I think it is. That's a good observation, Peaberry. The shield of the Diablos lance is the raised backplate of the Diablos. Well, Diablos and Monoblos have such a similar design that it really could be either. But yeah, the lances for... yeah, that gets confusing. Would you call it a Monoblos lance or a Diablos lance? Traditionally, well, it's always been a mixture. For any game that includes Monoblos, the Diablos lances will make use of both monsters' materials. Same beverage as yesterday, same game as yesterday, but I feel like everything's just a whole lot better. Better team, better camera. Well, webcam setup we'll say. The camera is the same. The setup is what's improved. Yes, I do. I do know about the white catastrophe. It's a sensible progression, isn't it? From white disaster to white catastrophe. I can't remember what it's called in 4 Ultimate. It's probably white catastrophe. Such a good translation, I can't imagine them changing it. Although, they may not have used the Freedom Unite translation as a point of reference. Although they should do. I know certain things were kept consistent, and then others were not. When it came to the change of translation team. Alright. I will settle for 3 Mega Potions, although I may severely regret that. Actually, if you guys would bear with me, because I only have 3 Mega Potions, I'm going to gather what honey I have. Because I haven't stored any, I know that. I ended up using all my honey, it's just hard to get it back. You almost have to specifically grind for it. Because it's so hard to get in this game. What I'm going to do is I'm going to gather whatever I can now, And then I will combine 4 Mega Potions. Because 3 is just not enough for young Garuga, I don't think. Maybe for some people. Probably not for me. How good's this? And then that's going to be it. You can only get 4 gathering attempts each time. And as you can see, you're not even guaranteed to get honey when you do 1 of 4 gathering animations. It's ridiculous. Sometimes you can get 5. I don't know if I've ever encountered that. Oh, I didn't know you could get honey from the feline chefs. Do you mean when they have a speech bubble, or just by talking to them in general? Oh, okay. Well, thanks for the platinum ticket. That's fucking helpful, isn't it? Yeah, I'll take that. Here, have a platinum ticket. Thanks. It's actually not that big of a deal. It sounds really good, but it's not particularly. Weirdly, golden tickets are much more useful in this game. And very annoying to get, because you actually have to have a suboptimal setup with your cats. So therefore, you kind of deliberately grind for golden tickets in this game. At least that's what I did, because it feels like you have to. And it's really quite stupid. Alright. Thank you for your patience. Should be good to go now. Well, I will purchase some potions as well, but then we will be good to go. I don't really need these drinks right now, so I'm not going to take them. I only have 1 Barrel Bomb Large Plus, but that'll hopefully be sufficient. If Hellhound were here, it would not be sufficient, because he would constantly be trapping the monster and bombing it. He was a funny guy. I wonder if he's still around, Hellhound. I haven't seen him recently. But yeah, he was probably the most bomb-happy player I've ever seen in any Monster Hunter game. And we're talking about a game where it's really quite hard to bring lots of combination materials, and it's hard to actually gather materials as well. But this guy, without fail, would pitfall trap the fuck out of every single monster that we would fight, and he would bomb them too. Just the amount of materials he would expend in every single hunt was insane. I don't know how he gathered it all, but he's a passionate bombing hunter, I guess. I'm just following these guys. Apparently the monster starts in Area 10, based on how they're moving. Unless this is a faster route to Area 4, which is possible. But I thought the monster started in 4. Yeah, that must be what it is, just a faster route to 4. I don't know if it actually is or not. I would say that it's not. So, unless Area 3 is the starting area, it is the starting area. And it looks like this one's wounded, so that means this is not going to be a full-length hunt, which is a good thing, to be honest. Ow. The damage that the Garuga does in first generation is quite high, but the biggest difference between this monster and the ones, or rather the Garuga of first gen and second gen and beyond, is the health. The health is really high, stupidly high. There goes my stamina! Asshole. I would go for the face, but at this stage I would rather allow Yuli to hit it uninterrupted. Not sure what weapon Yuli's actually using. At first I thought it was the Millennium Knife, but now I can see... Oh, it's Odyssey. I couldn't see. But yes, the Odyssey Sword and Shield. Which I probably should have brought. If you're going to bring a Sword and Shield to any fight, this would probably be it. The idea, of course, being that if you bring Sword and Shield, you're automatically going to be dealing way more damage than you otherwise would be. As you can see, when Garuga is enraged, just any regular tail swing will poison you. Oh, apparently Hellhound has been grinding in DOS, which makes sense. There we go, cut the tail. That was all me, guys, all me. It's very dangerous to stand in front of a young Garuga and aim for the head. The Sword and Shield weapon type really works well for that, because you've got the mobility to get out of the way after hitting it a few times, whereas with the Lance, not really. Not with limited guard functionality in the older games. Now you can see why I raised my shield. No. Even doing this is dangerous. Fortunately, he didn't run at me. If he had run at me, I would have been in a really bad way. As you can see, my potions are already looking pretty sad. Aha! An opportunity. Bastard. See, you think he's going to commit to something, but then he just doesn't. Or in other words, it looks like he's beginning an attack, but he doesn't commit to it. And then he just repositions and runs at you. Thanks, Garuga. You're such a pleasant monster to fight. I will actually sharpen up. I think I'll be bouncing with blue sharpness for the most part. I could be wrong. It might depend on what you're attacking. I think the feet specifically and the face might be soft, and then the rest of him is hard. Which includes, by the way, the thighs. Yuli is pinging for a pitfall trap. Presumably while the monster is not enraged. Aha, now he's enraged, so I think he will ignore the trap when enraged, or am I wrong? I can't remember. I do seem to recall that Garuga has trap resistance, but I don't know what the circumstances are for a trap resistance. They're committing to it though, so I must be wrong. Yuli is dead. I wish I'd caught that on camera a little better than that. Oh dear. That just looks like you're eating out Yuli's ass. That's alright. That's what I would call opportunistic sexual assault. Come on. Don't be shy now. You're usually more than happy to run at us. Yeah, see? Oh, maybe it's... Oh, I see. When enraged. Well, was he enraged? I can't quite tell. He wasn't breathing that shit out of his mouth. Shit. It's almost like a flaming breath, which is precisely what it would be, because Garuga breathes fireballs, but, yeah, I couldn't see the flaming breath there, so maybe Garuga was unenraged? I don't know. So I'm at this stage totally unsure as to what mode of attack Garuga has to be in order to be successfully pitfalled, so that is what it is. Yeah, an enraged young Garuga fireball is not something that you want to be touched by. At all. I actually don't know the lore behind Yian Garuga being so strong in this game. It doesn't make much sense to me, just on the face of it. Why would the combination of a Kutku and a Rathian be so damn strong? Oh, not good. Not that I would blame my teammates for flinching me, but it's probably the worst possible situation to be in when you're a Lance user. Although, it can't be described as ideal for any hunter to be getting flinched in place when you're going up against this monster. Good position to be flinched. Not good, not good. I think I'll be bringing Odyssey next time. If it does get posted again. That's something that I might consider making. The Garuga armor set for the earplugs, but again, if I could get earplugs and sharpness +1, I'd do it. But I don't know if it's possible in this game. It might be. Maybe that'll be a set that I can make. I like having the attack... Oh, Jesus, there goes Yuli again. Even with the shield and the mobility. But it is what it is. Maybe Yuli has very low defense, that's possible. Or at least too low for this monster. Looks like... Oh, I do have ESP with this set. I think. I do. So yeah, you could see that I was getting resistance from the monster. Don't really know how else to describe it. Bouncing attacks that weren't actually bouncing, I guess is what I would say. Sorry for bumping the mic. But, yeah, that's good. I will obviously sharpen up back to white, just for the damage, but what it does is it makes it less pressing. I don't need to do it immediately. Bastard. Come to think of it, this quest is actually just a hunting quest, or slaying quest, whatever you would call it. I don't think it has a repel option, does it? No, this is just a slaying quest. Interesting. There's definitely a number of Garuga quests that are... Maybe this is an event quest, that's possible. A Japanese event quest? Because the typical Yian Garuga quest in this game would be a purple special quest with a repel option. So it makes me wonder why this one unless this is one ear Yian Garuga. Fuck. I feel like I'd be taking more damage if that were the case. Because it looked like he was wounded, but this isn't a repel quest, so he shouldn't be wounded at all. So that might mean that this is actually one ear Yian Garuga as an event quest, with no repel option, which would be disgusting, to be honest. As I say, I would have expected under those circumstances to be, you know, getting hit for much more damage than I am. But maybe it's just an increase in health for the monster. Not that that's really needed at this stage. Let's just see what we can do. It's going to be a long hunt. I can sense it. Hopefully we get a knockdown. It's possible. Could be N10. Maybe they do all look wounded. You could be right and I just haven't noticed it. Might be something story related. So it looks like we've broken everything on him. We've broken the back, we've gotten the double break on the face, and cut the tail. Obviously don't want to hit him too soon when he's coming down. Oh, no! Because you don't want to chase him away. If you hit him too soon, he will fly off. All the bird wyverns do that. And I almost want to say all the flying wyverns in general will do that, if you hit them too early. I'm actually not going to heal myself. I'm low on potions, so what I will do is try to recover health first before healing. Feels like the most prudent course of action. Oh, fuck. Danger zone. Turn to face me, please. Do not fucking attack those people. See that? It's not 2 readjustments or 2 adjustments of position. It's 3, and that shit scares me. When I see a monster not move twice, but in fact 3 times, like that's another example there. It puts me on edge, personally. Now, I'm not too sure if that was a wounded one or not, but that felt pretty quick. I don't know, maybe we're just a really good team. I'm sure we had high damage output there, but yeah. Rough hunt, despite all that, but I was expecting it to take a little longer. Stylish beak. Very good. Yep, everything broken, including the back. Obviously the back is not always going to be broken, but I suppose we knocked him down enough times to just be hitting it without specifically aiming for it. Yeah, I think that was a Monster Hunter Freedom 2 edition, the yell into backflip. Unless it's a... Well, it may have been implemented in DOS. I haven't fought Garuga in DOS, so maybe he does it there. That was well done either way. Excellent rewards. Got a long ear as well. 500 Zenny. That's one thing that I find to be a constant when it comes to the Japanese DLC quests. For some reason they give you almost no money when you complete the quests. Or maybe... no, even if... Yeah. I'm guessing maybe the reason why we got very little money is because Yuli died twice, but still... I think that should only affect guild points, not Zenny. It's later on in the series when you lose your Zenny reward as a result of people fainting. So, yeah, just a tiny Zenny reward, basically. Which feels a little bit unfair, given the quest that it was. I keep pressing the wrong buttons. I can only apologize. Yeah, I guess golf swinged just isn't right. I thought I'd let you watch the whole animation this time. Well, you were watching the whole thing before, just sped up. Don't you find it to be just reprehensible of Capcom to force the hunter to sit through that whole fucking scene every time the hunter wants to eat? It's weird to say the hunter. every time the player wants to eat. The hunter doesn't have a speech bubble saying, "Feed me." Doesn't happen. But yeah, I'll expect to be updated in the chat if there's a change of monster. Health side let me know last time, which was good. Whenever I drink coffee like this, it makes me want water. I don't know why, but yeah, I'm probably going to get some of that between now and the next hunt. I'll be back in a minute while I go and do that. That makes no sense. I will depart from the screen and cease talking to you while I do that. For the avoidance of doubt, I did decide against getting on my hands and knees like a dog to get back in here. Oh, you can see my shadow. How fascinating. Interestingly, oh, you can see that almost static effect on my shadow, but it looks like I'm casting a shadow on the game. How strange is that? I quite like that. Anyway. Look like I'm at a concert. Anyway. Doing a Mexican wave. 2 kidding. You know what? I'm not going to complain because I do need the materials, so thank you for posting that. As I said, I've got no kit-in equipment whatsoever, so this works out very nicely. Please bear with me while I get a bowgun setup. I think I will bring heavy bowgun. Okay. So again, because I don't really have the space in my box, I have to purchase all of my stuff. Or at least I'm quite sure I don't have anything in my box. So I think I can get huskberries from this lady. Get 99 of those. Normal level 2. And then possibly needleberries from this guy. No, maybe... Where do I get needleberries? Why do I have psycho serums in my box? That's ridiculous. And thoroughly unacceptable. Okay, maybe I can get them over here. It's possible. What's the primary elemental weakness of a Kirin? Because I think I can shoot all elements with this gun. I'm assuming water, or is it flaming? I think flaming shots, so I'll bring flaming shots as well. Yeah, this should do. Should be fire, yeah. Yeah, should be. I can tell you what it's not. It's definitely not thunder. And water seems strange, so we'll go with fire. I like that idea. I will need to bring cool drinks. I think this is going to be in the volcano. Like, volcano arena. Like we're fighting a fucking Crimson Fatalis. I'd almost rather fight a Crimson Fatalis. But anyway. Alright, do you sell needleberries, lady? No, you don't. Well. I don't really know what I'm going to do with myself then. Just bring more ammunition or something? I don't know. Maybe it would be better to bring... I'd get more mileage out of my flaming shots if I brought profusion, because that rapid fires them. But no, I don't want a rapid fire because Kirin keeps jumping around all over the place, so I would be unlikely to get all 3 shots off every time I shot, so... Yep, I like the idea of using this. I just hope I'm going to have the ammunition for 2 of them. Should be able to make it work. Rapid fire doesn't exist. Well, thank you for the reminder. That's what it's called. It's called rapid fire. Remember when I said that the skill for auto reload in this game had a different name, and I suggested that it might have been load up? It's not that. The skill is called rapid fire in this game. And yeah, quite rightly, AJ reminds me that there is no rapid fire in this game. And yeah, therefore I may as well just use this heavy bowgun. Look, I play so many different versions of Monster Hunter, I just can't remember what's happening in all of them. Like, what game has what, I just don't know anymore. It's terribly confusing. That'd be pretty good. Oh, apparently fire and water are tied for the elemental weakness, which is excellent news, because that means I can bring water shots as well. Someone's going to say, and in fact, I'm surprised P-Berry hasn't asked yet. This is not ice shot. There is no ice element in the game. It's a mistranslation. It's because, and I happen to know this because I'm somewhat familiar with Japanese, the kanji characters for Kori and Mizu, ice and water, look really similar. I believe it's literally the same character, but one of them has an additional stroke. It's really pathetic that the translation team made that mistake, because surely words that are as common as water and ice in a language, which obviously have very similar characters, to make that mistake... What's an example in English that's really obvious? You know, it's like... Let's say a word that can have multiple spellings depending on its use. Imagine getting that wrong, you know, something really basic, something very elementary. I can't believe that the translation team made that mistake, it's ridiculous. Anyway, there is no ice. That's the moral of the story. Again, another first-gen specific thing. This is a gesture called footwork. I don't know why they got rid of it, but it is a gesture specific to first generation Monster Hunter. Is Healthscythe still playing? Looks like Yuli was, I have to say was because it's now past tense, looked like he was stomping on his balls. Yuli is calling me, so I guess Healthscythe is finished. which is a shame. Would have actually preferred to have 4 people for this hunt. Can't have everything. Yeah. Fixing to have a brawl in the tavern. Alright. I'm so very excited. I really need to bring, or not bring, but rather make, a normal upset, because you can obviously see this is a Pierce attack upset, which is unhelpful when I'm not using Pierce. I don't think there's element attack up in this game, by the way. Or status attack up. There might be, and I just haven't seen it. Or, I've seen it, but don't remember it. As you can see, there's another kid in over that way. I guess we're going to focus on this one. I will paintball this one so that we are consistent with what we're aiming for. Oh, I hope that... Oh, I'm so sorry. If there was a strategy to... Oh, I've probably fucked that up, haven't I? Looks like... Oh, Yuli broke off. Okay, I'm sorry. There was a strategy to only engage one of them first. I was dithering, I was being foolish, and had forgotten that there was such a strategy. So the idea is that one of the Kirin is quite far away, and then because that one's far away, we can engage one of them as far away as possible, and that way we're not dealing with 2 at the same time. We will try that again, and I apologize for wasting our time. Just apologizing in the chat. But yeah, in a double Kirin hunt, you just don't want to be fighting both of them at the same time, and I don't think I need to explain why. I would go so far as to say that even hunting one of them is unpleasant to the point of being intolerable. So imagine fighting 2. Whiskey time. I'm gonna need it for Kirin. Oh. Well, I guess Yuli doesn't have the speed up toggle bound to his controller, which makes sense. Some people do that because they don't trust themselves to not accidentally press it while playing multiplayer. Either that, or Yuli's just an absolute purist and never uses speed up. Look, I don't use it very often. There are some circumstances in which I will use it, but for the most part, I don't use it. Some people, on the other hand, will use it literally whenever they're not playing in multiplayer. I am not one of those people. Alright, take 2. So what I will probably do is not immediately drink a cool drink. It's probably better that we prioritize getting over here first. I don't want to fuck us up again. Alright. So, I don't know how... Well, these guys will probably expect me to pull one of them, which probably means I'd be better off using normal shot. Yuli wants us further away. It's actually really intimidating to watch them both walk in here. It becomes slightly less intimidating, however, when it looks like... Maybe it's just the perspective. They look like they're not properly walking on the ground. Oh, and now they're walking through solid objects, which is great. Like I say, it becomes much less intimidating when they're clipping through the terrain. They look so fake. Should I pull one of them with my gun? Because I don't think they're going to come this way. I think Yuli is just waiting for me to shoot or something. Probably. Should I go for it? What are you doing? I think I spooked it. Yeah, come over here. Well, you can hear that we're in combat, but we're not. What the fuck's going on? That's interesting. Well, I suppose we'll just have to... Oh. Yeah, here we go. Excellent. This is actually the best case scenario. Alright. Now this is going to be the quest where we make use of the ultimate patience. Now, those of you... I say patience because, again, unpleasant fight. You just have to grit your teeth and get it done. Fortunately, they do have low health anyway, and if there's two of them, it will be... Oh, I'm being prompted, I think, to move further away from the other one that might end up seeing us. Those of you who are familiar with second generation Kirin will notice that the animation is slightly different in first. He has more of a running animation going on. Very good. Oh. My accuracy is miserable. Simply not good enough. One of the problems with keeping as far away from the other one as possible is obviously that I'm constantly up against the wall, which is really bad for my camera. It's just terrible. The wall recovery in this game is some of the worst. Believe it or not, it's even worse on the PlayStation 2. So, as bad as this is, on the PlayStation 2 it's like the world's ending. If you touch, or if your camera goes near a wall, it's over. You may as well give up. I had a conversation with someone, I can't remember who it was, and they insisted that the wall recovery was, I think, worse in Monster Hunter Freedom than it was in the PlayStation 2 Monster Hunter 1 and Monster Hunter G games, and I just... Maybe I'm also misremembering that. Guys, we should take care. We don't want to get too close to the other one. I know it's tempting when the monster's down, but... Having said that, though, I don't really know how close you have to get to alert the other one. So my hesitancy might be misplaced. Now, one of the things with my bowgun that I have to take care with is that I don't shoot the monster when it's outside of the carve area. Because if we kill one of these things and we don't get our carves, it's going to be a sad day. We only get two, so... See, for example, if he's standing there, I'm not going to shoot him. I need to resist the temptation. Seems like Yuli is not being quite as cautious as I am. That's fine. Oh. That's very nice of you to just stand in place like that. Yeah, when you get the opportunity to hit Kirin like that, that's when you just really let loose and build up damage. Yeah, I would say that these two are max size. They are really big, you're right. When this happens, I really should be aiming for the head as much as possible. Actually, might bring out my normal shots. Ow. It may have been a much better idea to bring normal level 3 as well, just in case. But we're getting a lot of opportunities here to deal heavy damage, so I think this one should die soon. Leave me alone. Bastard creature, look at you. Now if one of us dies, it's going to be pretty dangerous coming back. If we had very clear communication, we'd be able to tell the person who had died when it was safe to come back, but I don't know if we've got that sort of communication. I guess I do have AJ, like he could type in my Twitch chat when to go, but if I died, for example, but... You have to love it when the monster is running into the terrain, and then, as a result, is actually being pushed into you. It's just lovely when that happens. Going to make a potion up. Not shooting you there. Alright, I'll do it. I know better than to do this, but I'm doing it anyway. I was really hoping that we would get this one killed faster than this. See, I'm being too greedy, I'm attacking for too long. I can't keep doing that. Is this freedom or DOS? What do you mean? A DOS doesn't look like this even. Has a very different heads-up display. Unless that was a joke that totally went over my head. Although I do hesitate to refer to what was likely to be an honest question as a joke. But yeah, as Peaberry said, that much can be determined from the stream information. Please die soon. The main reason why I'm slightly stressed by the fact that this first one hasn't died is because I feel like I have to keep going close to the wall. Fuck off. And I don't want to go close. Stop! Ah, shit. Look out. Not good, not good. Oh, very good, very good. That's what we want. Getting a few shots off on the head. Wish I were getting more. Another knockdown. My potions are not looking good at the moment. I hope I'll be alright with the second one. I'm gonna have to do the thing where I recover my red health again. It's probably good practice in general to do that, it's just slightly more risky. At this stage, I'm actually more worried about my ammunition than my health, or my health recovery items, because, yeah, I'm about halfway through my ammunition for normal and we haven't killed this one yet, so I'm actually at risk of running out of ammunition. Admittedly, what I do have on hand was put in my inventory with the expectation that we would have 4 hunters, but we instead have 3. So, yeah, maybe I definitely should have brought normal level 3 as well. What a miserable experience this hunt is. Worse still is that I don't have farcasters. So if I do run out of ammunition, I will just have to run around like an idiot. I shouldn't be doing that. I have to get ready to get out of the way rather than just go for a shot. There's something really maddening about this creature. I fucking hate Kirin. It just won't stop moving. Monsters that don't stop moving very often, or monsters that are constantly in motion, they really just piss me off. I'm also minded to say that this monster has a really unforgiving hitbox. You know what's really unforgiving right now? The fucking consumption of health items. I actually briefly glanced at my ammunition and thought it said 99. I was like, what? Did I have a secret stash of shots somewhere? No, it said 29, not 99. Can look similar if you're not watching carefully. Yes, I can melee with the gun, but can you imagine how dangerous that would be? Trying to melee this thing with my gun. At this rate, I'm gonna run out of healing materials before we even get... Oh, is it dead? It's fucking... probably not dead. Or is it? Yeah, it is. Oh, that's good news. Okay, so I've got 19 normal... Oh, it's so infuriating. What a shit quest. This quest is like a bad joke. You're so fucking likely to kill these things in an area where you can't carve them. It's ridiculous. Seriously. And I was deliberately not shooting when the monster was out of bounds. Deliberately. I willingly curtailed my DPS just to be on the safe side. And then the piece of shit still fucking dies out of bounds. Because it flies backwards when it fucking dies. Stupid creature. Most of the reason why I'm frustrated by it is because I actually want the materials. Usually when you're watching me hunt something in the live hunt series, I don't really need anything. Because it's very much an end game sort of video series. Where I'm just hunting stuff for fun, but I actually need Kirin stuff in this game. I've almost got no Kirin materials at all, and I don't have any equipment, and I want to make the equipment. So missing out on calves stupidly like this is genuinely frustrating. But you know what? This is just life. This is what it's like to play first generation Monster Hunter. You just have to build a thick skin. Just incomprehensible stupidity like that is something you have to live with. Deal with it. I'm literally rolling into the monster at this point. I have to be as careful as possible because I've only got one Mega Potion now. And that's it. So I need to not be going for shots. Like, there, for example. Bit too dangerous to go for the shot. So, while there is apparently an equal elemental weakness to water and fire for Kirin, the effectiveness of the elemental shots will likely be different because water shots do have a piercing function. That's just how they work. They don't apply their damage all in one go like fire does. So I'm worried that depending on the angle that I shoot this monster, my ammunition is going to be more or less effective. So what's the likelihood that fire is actually a better choice? I'd say pretty likely. As you can see, in first generation, Kirin doesn't actually have the targeted Thunderbolt attack. It doesn't make the hunt any more pleasant though. Just in case that was something that was necessary for me to add. And the insult that they've got an Elder Dragon that gives you 2 calves as well. I mean, I didn't get the calves, but it would have only been 2. In my opinion, however, it depends on how you look at it logically. You could say that if it were a lot of calves, it would be a waste to not get any, but also, if you're only getting 2, it means that you want to get as many as possible. Like, you need to get those materials. So if you miss out, it hurts even more. But it has to also be said that this is a fucking Elder Dragon that only gives you 2 calves because Capcom are so clever. They're like, well, it's a small monster. You can't carve that much off it. What are you talking about? Like, if you actually physically look at it, I get that these ones are quite large. But the notion that you can only get 2 things off it doesn't make any sense. Because quite frankly, 3 calves is very small, considering the size of the monster in relation to the physical body of the hunter. So it doesn't make any sense. Anyone who wants to advocate for that game design is practically drowning in Capcom Kool-Aid. Because that's not good game design, that's just Capcom being little shits. That's Alpha Team literally sitting around the table going, how can we just completely fuck over the hunter again? I know, 2 calves for an Elder Dragon. Because it's small. It's all you can carve, it's just a small monster. Pricks. I feel like the piercings are good. I am out of healing wares, by the way. So I just need to do my best to survive with the health that I've got. I think AJ's hanging around me. He's probably trying to give me something. No, he's not. Just looked like he was staying close to me. Oh. See, there is a width to that hitbox as well. Shit. Alright, cool drink. Yeah, I suspect that we're all pretty low on healing wares, so I'm not looking for handouts. Oh shit. Thank you. Anything's better than nothing. 2 mega potions, that's what he can spare, and do you know what? As I say, anything's better than nothing. Thank you for that. I will use them wisely. I need to play as conservatively as I can. But there's almost a logical catch-22 when it comes to playing conservatively. And it is as follows. I'll try to explain it in a way that's not complicated. So, if you play conservatively, it means that you're going to be attacking the monster less, which therefore means the quest will take longer. If the quest takes longer, if you think about it, there's a higher chance of failure at that point. Because you're having to survive for longer. I will recover my red health, and then I will use my potion. The key... Couldn't even finish the sentence. I was going to say the key is to not die. Now I've got 100 health, and it's not going to be too problematic. It's more the lack of healing wares that is the problem. This is such a shit quest. Just absolutely terrible. It's awful. There's a reason why I don't have any kit in stuff. It's because this quest is just the worst possible experience. I'm also out of cool drinks because, haha, this is first generation, you can only bring 3 in one quest. 3 fucking cool drinks. That's the max, that's all you're given. What a complete joke. I really wish that we had done this quest when we had 4 people. But whatever. Of course, my only hope is that I am contributing adequately. I don't know if I am or not. I think I am. I've got, like, the highest damage heavy bowgun in the game. I think the damage that I'm dealing is good with my elemental shots. I hope so. So, I think I'm doing alright. My DPS seems okay. Seemingly better than their DPS, but I feel like they're going to be dealing more damage when they can hit the monster. So, yeah. I don't know how I feel about them. Fuck off! Look at him go. I think we're all in a terrible way. Thank you for the Farcaster, that's actually really helpful. That's probably the most helpful thing you could have given me given the circumstances. I'm not going to be recovering my red health because I don't have a cool drink, so I don't know why I was waiting to recover anything. Suppose I hadn't made the connection yet. That was the only way I was going to be able to recover any red health. It would be if I wasn't steadily losing health. What an infuriating creature. It's also extremely frustrating to be using a heavy bowgun because I feel so immobile. I'm constantly having to roll around, obviously, but good god. My mobility versus this monster's mobility? It's quite a stark contrast there. Thank you for not running at me. See how I'm only narrowly fucking avoiding that shit? Of course, because it's a bigger Kirin, that only widens the hitbox. Fucking horse creature. No. I'm getting to that point with my health where if I take a hit, I might die. I'm just going to get the last of my ammunition out because, you know, the end of my ability to contribute is the same on all fronts. In terms of ammunition and in terms of health, I'm at my end. I literally can't help anymore. So I'm just going to get these last 3 shots out, missing one of them, of course. And then that's it for me. That's all I can do. No, don't you hit me. Fuck. I'm sorry. If I could continue helping, I 100% would do so, but I can't. No cool drinks, no healing items, no ammunition. I'm spent. Ooh. That's some nasty business right there. Well, thank you, Beta. I can't completely describe to you. I hope that it can be seen while I'm playing, but the awkwardness of having to roll with a heavy bowgun whilst shooting that monster, doing that for 20 minutes, really takes it out of you. I hope morale is still strong, despite the fact that I literally have no choice but to come back here. Yes, I'm recovering all of my red health, which is nice, but again, what would I do if I went back into the fight? I wouldn't be able to get back here, and I'd be trying to melee the stupid thing with my heavy bowgun, which hopefully can be well established at this point to be a non-viable strategy. Even if it did decent damage, which it doesn't. You know, how would I be able to get close enough to the monster to be able to melee it without getting hit myself? It's simply not an option. So, yeah, it's just a situation where the best thing that I can do is to just stay here and not be dying. Because despite the fact that things look pretty grim, we are close to killing the second one, and we only have 1 death at the moment. So, could be worse. It's not common that I will do a quest that literally brings me to the limit, but this is the quest. It's a truly awful experience. At this stage, if they can't kill the monster within a carving area, then I'm not going to complain. It's going to be quite a successful mission if we can kill both, and I'm not going to ask for more. Yeah, they would be out of cool drinks as well. I'm trying to see if their health is... Well, interesting. No, both of their healths are slowly recovering, so they do still have cool drinks in effect, but they're definitely down to their last one. The reason why I ran out sooner was because I had consumed my third one and then died soon after. So, yeah, but they're definitely getting to the end of it. Far out. I can't remember the last time I had to sit at camp and wait for the team to kill the monster. Not just on camera, but just in my personal experience of playing. It's been a long time. I think the last time was during an Acantor hunt. It happens so infrequently I can actually remember the last quest that had happened. It was an Acantor hunt in Portable Third. and I remember having to sit at camp. Can't remember the circumstances. I probably had a shit loadout. And it would have been... God... 5 years ago? Something like that. Excellent work, guys. Very nicely done. If I can't get my calves, so be it. Whether that's because the monster's out of bounds or because I can't make it in time, I'm not going to complain. Very nicely done. These two have done sterling work. They stayed alive and they dealt the damage. Good on them. I'm still not 100% sure how much I contributed. I hope that I pulled my weight. One could argue that I didn't, by virtue of the fact that I had to sit at camp at the end. But I hope that while I was there, I was dealing enough damage. I haven't done this quest enough to know how long it usually takes, but I feel like this is enough. I feel like I have enough information from the hunt that we've just completed to be able to make the following assessment, and that is that this quest is fucking shit, and it's not easy. Even with 4 people, this is not an easy quest at all. I am... no horns at all. No horns. It is what it is. I guess I should be glad that I am getting any rewards at all. But, yeah. Second Silver Crown, or another Silver Crown anyway. Interestingly, they can get bigger. Can you believe that? Those things can get bigger than that. Crazy. I don't know what the single Kirin quests are, Peaberry, but yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I don't think I want to do a double next time we do Kirin. But yeah, what I was about to say is that I have reason to suspect, based on how long that took, that they don't have reduced health. For the fact that there are 2 of them in one quest, I think that they are both at full health. I mean, how could that take so long? We are level appropriate. I mean, unless they have increased health, that is technically reduced because there's 2 of them, which might work out to be, well, if you think about it, that has every likelihood of being full health compared to a standard Kirin at that point. Yeah, I had a feeling, because, yeah, I didn't think there would be a single Kirin in G rank, because I hadn't seen it in this game. Whenever Kirin is posted, it's always that quest. So you're forced to endure that shit whenever you want to kill Kirin. That's the first gen special, that's Capcom. Sadistic motherfuckers, that's what they are. Alright, it's getting hotter in my room, so I'm going to turn on the air conditioning. I'll be back in a moment. Palkia Dialga says that there's actually a video on YouTube of someone soloing that quest in less than 5 minutes. I can believe that. Kidding is... yeah. There's something about the movements of Kidding that if you time it perfectly, particularly with a weapon like Greatsword, you can actually predict precisely when the monster's going to come in contact with you from multiple directions. It's an extremely efficient technique. I've seen it done in a few games. But yeah, you can actually learn the movement patterns of Kidding expertly enough to actually complete that quest in less than 5 minutes on your own. And with 3 of us, it took us 30 minutes. And we're level appropriate, so... And there you go. The video that Palkia is talking about was Yuli, the person we're hunting with. Small world. Well, it certainly is in the first-gen community. What are we going to do next? After that shit, I'm happy to do almost anything. Obviously, I need to do something about my box because I don't have Kidding materials in it, obviously, or at least not many, so I need to start making space. What a joke. What do I really not need in here? I guess mega pickaxes can come out. Alright, that'll do. No, stop! Pressing the wrong buttons again. I'm so used to pressing circle these days. Alright. And I will go and gather some honey again. Hopefully make some mega potions. Any word on what our next quest will be? It's been a good run so far, though. We've actually hit the 2-hour mark, and it doesn't even feel like it's been 2 hours. This is one of those recordings that's... Oh, to be fair, that was 30 minutes for one hunt, so... yeah. But it's been good fun. That moment when I accidentally was putting Book of Combos in my inventory. Actually, it would have been good to keep them in there. I was preempting my own plans. Come on, Donald. Make me a meal, Donald. Donald the cat. I almost want a cat named Donald. I can't take that name seriously. I've never been able to take that name seriously. Donald as a name is just... There is absolutely nothing about that name that is grand or stately, or obviously using stately in the context of the Donald that we're almost familiar with, but it's just... it just sounds goofy no matter how you think about it. I'm not just thinking of Donald Duck. I mean, just as a name, it sounds really weak and silly. But that's just me. There are names that sound strong, and then there are names that just sound really weak, and Donald would be an example of a very weak sounding, almost very silly name. But that's just how I interpret it. And can I just take a moment to draw your attention to the fact that there is someone, and I don't do this in an unkind way, but there's a guy who's playing Freedom 1 named Zod the Destroyer. There he is. Zod the Destroyer. I want to play with him. Because that's a fucking name. It's just one of those names where you go all in. You just don't give a fuck. You're just like, yep, that's my name online. Zod the Destroyer. A bit more powerful than Donald. Yeah, that'd be a good matchup. Lord Zor and Zod the Destroyer. I like that idea. Just feels right. Is Yurley like recharging after that? After that quest? Maybe I need to go in there and double check. Sounds like a boss monster in a Yu-Gi-Oh deck. Oh, Yurley has posted a quest. Let's have a look. Azure/Pink. Sounds like a good quest. I will bring a dragon weapon. Not sure which one to bring though. Someone in the chat, recommend me a weapon type. I will use whatever you say. Whoever gives me the first recommendation, I will use that. Dual blades? I don't have my dragon dual blades yet. Well, I do technically, yeah. I'll equip some dragon dual blades. They're not my ideal ones, but I'll bring them. Eternal Schism. There they are. These dual blades were complete shit in all the games that came after this one. Certain monsters, such as, for example, Fatalis, just have such a high weakness to dragon that these are still worthwhile using. We actually had 2 people recommend dual blades. Don't worry, I'll use hammer next. You were going to say Lance. What, force me to use Lance for the 3rd time in one recording? What's going on with this quest name? It's got something written in English. Where is it? Check quest. Monster Hunter I? Monster Hunter I. Do you guys know what that game is? That's a mobile game, a Monster Hunter mobile game from before the smartphone era. This is apparently an event quest for Monster Hunter I. Holy shit. That's amazing. Monster Hunter I. I just had my mind fucking blown. I don't know about you guys, but Monster Hunter I. It's the original dynamic hunting. Back when dynamic hunting came out, and you had all of these jokes about Monster Hunter I. Like, you know, the classic of course being, wow, this game sucks, I'd rather play Monster Hunter I. That was pretty much what was going on. And then of course there were the people going, this is so great, I can, you know, swipe my finger on a screen and hunt a cuckoo. Okay. We won't discuss Monster Hunter Massive Hunting, of course, but that actually came after Dynamic Hunting, even though it looks much older. Massive Hunting was like 2012 or something like that. Whereas Dynamic Hunting was... Well, actually, Massive Hunting may have been 2013 even. As I recall, Dynamic Hunting was 2011. Monster Hunter I was like 2005 or something. Perhaps 2006. That's really funny. Alright. Let's get moving. The quest girls had to dust off the ancient texts for this quest. Oh yes. Monster Hunter I. There's a very small number of pictures of that game online. There's more now than there used to be. Used to be like, I don't know, 2 on the internet. And when you see the pictures, you'll realize it's not very good. It's really not very good. I mean, what would you expect? It's a mobile game from the flip phone, and, well, you didn't only have flip phones back then, but, you know, when flip phones were the best thing, or if you had a fucking BlackBerry, that was just amazing. You worked in the city, and you had a BlackBerry. That was the cool phone of the day, when Monster Hunter I came out, so there you are. And incidentally, it would probably look just as shit on a BlackBerry as it would look on, I don't know, Sony Ericsson, Motorola Razr, etc. Now, I do have Power Juice on hand, or Mega Juice in fact, but I'm holding off on using it. It would be very beneficial, but I'm saving it for my Fatalis hunts, because it's in short supply. At least in my little world. I don't have much of it on hand, so I want to save it for a confrontation that really deserves it. So as useful as it would be, for this confrontation, I'm not using it. Oh, come on! I was making evasive maneuvers from the very fucking beginning, like from the moment that that monster... Fine. That's fine. What a complete takedown. That was almost impressive. I'm now thoroughly unimpressed because I'm almost beginning the hunt. The hunt has barely begun, and now I'm stuck at 100 stamina with dual blades. That's complete shit. That's the worst possible outcome. I don't even care about the health. The health? I can live with that. The stamina? Oh, I may have to use a Mega Juice. I'm not going to use it immediately, but I may have to use it for pink. This is really harrowing, actually. Alright. As I say, all you can do sometimes in first generation Monster Hunter is grit your teeth and deal with it. Yeah, if I brought a steak, in fact I do have some. It's taken up space in my inventory, should have brought it. Would have been a great idea. You're not hitting anyone, so just come back down. Rathalos, seriously. Looks like AJ is using the Millennium Knife. Oh no, that is not the Millennium. I keep getting so excited thinking people are using the Millennium Knife. I don't know why. Anyway. I don't want to accidentally flinch you, leader. If it were not obvious, the hit lag there was pretty immense. No! Okay, fortunately AJ ate that. Which has a nice ring to it. Alright, let's Demon Dance this. No, that's not Demon Dance, Doomlink. I swear that I pressed the correct buttons, but it didn't happen. I don't know whether to blame myself or blame the game. Yeah, hurry up. We all know how you work. Ugh. Flinching him so early on, during my Demon Dance animation, gave me reason for pause, like I was concerned, because I knew that I was going to be stuck in this animation for a little while longer, and therefore was going to be exposed to whatever would come my way. Again, I've explained it many times before, but... goodbye. I love how he casts a shadow down there. Come back. But yeah, I'll explain it again. But when you are doing Demon Dance, or sorry, when you're in demonized mode with dual blades, even if you're being flinched by something, your stamina will continue to deplete. In first generation, it's terrible. It's really bad. Well, we've had 2 deaths, and we've still got 2 monsters left to die. That does not bode well. Don't do anything. He did something, but fortunately I was not on the receiving end of any damage. You gotta love the just really obstructive fucking foliage in this place. Just first gen maps in general. The foliage really gets in the way. Fine, it's probably better that I do that attack anyway. No, I will definitely be sharpening as much as I can. I want to stay at blue. Can you get out of the sky? We can't do much when you're up there. Where are you headed? That way. Can't believe we've had 2 deaths. Obviously, I recognise the part that I've had to play, or the part that I've played in the number of deaths that we have had in the quest, but we haven't even gotten to Pink Rathian yet. I mean, she is going to be easier, I think. Hopefully. It should be faster, in theory, because she's not going to be in the sky constantly. There's not much I can do in that situation, is there? No, it's a pretty common shortening. Oh, I just saw a limp. Oh, for fuck's sake. Why am I bouncing on you? Like, on your legs? That's ridiculous. I can live with bouncing off your back, or perhaps even your wings, but the legs? When I've got blue sharpness? Go fuck yourself. There's just no need for that. It's the second highest sharpness level in the game. It must be because I have very low raw damage. I'm only at 194, which is pretty low for a G rank weapon in this game. Good night, motherfucker. Motion value is... well, here's the thing. Motion value is relevant insofar as the amount of damage you're dealing. So, all things that affect your damage relate to whether or not you're going to bounce. Motion value, sharpness, and then, obviously, the attack value of your weapon. All of it's relevant. The reason being that armor or parts of the monster have a threshold that you must surpass in terms of damage in order to not bounce. And sharpness oftentimes is going to be the damage boost that you need, but not always. Or I could be entirely wrong. Maybe there is just a strict sharpness requirement in addition to a damage requirement. That's also possible. I don't know. And that may have actually changed in later games. I think AJ's over this way. Area whatever the fuck. He insists that the monster's gonna arrive here. I don't know if they're both... No, they're both here. I'm not sure why he was so insistent that we follow him to there, because the monster's not there. But, anyway. My stamina is unacceptable for dual blades. Here we go, here's the first gen special. Oh yeah. My favorite camera angle. You think everything's okay, you think you're playing first generation and enjoying yourself, and then you remember Area 9 in the Forest and Hills. Thank God we don't have to fight the monster in here. It's truly miserable. It looks bad, but I can assure you, if you're playing the game and trying to hunt a monster with this camera angle, words cannot describe it. It's just... yeah. I've told this story before. I have to stop saying that I've said this before. Much of what I'm saying, I feel, is for the benefit of Peaberry, but there must also be people who are watching now and who will be watching during the VOD who haven't heard me explain these things before, so I'm going to stop prefacing everything that I say with, I've said this before. But Capcom actually came out with an apology for the fact that the camera angle looks like that in Area 9. It was not intentional, it was a mistake, and I think their apology was made for the reason that they allowed it to happen not in 1, not in 2, but in 3 successive Monster Hunter games that they came out with. And I agree, that is something worth apologizing for. I can almost accept it for Monster Hunter G, almost. But for Monster Hunter Freedom? You dicks. Talk about lazy. There was obviously a solution, they fixed it in DOS. Fucking ridiculous. I think the Forest and Hills was in DOS, I can't remember now. But I believe it was. But if it wasn't for one reason or another, then it would have been therefore fixed in Freedom 2. The anus cam. That's definitely an apt description. Oh shit, that's not great timing for my green sharpness, but that's alright. Thank you for that tail cut invulnerability, right when I'm standing precisely where you are, with my weapons flailing around. Stop! No! I'm in demonized mode, with blue sharpness, and I'm bouncing on a pink Raytheon. Why? Stop that. Hitler. Take that, motherfucker. Doesn't quite make sense to refer to a female as motherfucker, is it? I knew as soon as I said that that just wasn't quite right. Just wasn't right. Whoa! That was a scary charge attack. Felt like a bird wyvern run. Although I suppose, you know, all of the flying wyverns do that shit. They sort of gear up for it a little bit more, though. That's incorrect. Yes, they do technically run at you. But the bird wyvern run is just so sudden. Just comes out of nowhere. So you almost have to always expect it. Have to make sure that I don't flinch Yuli. That's some beautiful damage once you get a golf swing on the face like that. No, I won't even recover the health. I don't think this Rathian's going to last very long. I'll tell you what's really not going to last long, and that's my patience with my current stamina. I was really hoping for a knockdown there. Well, Dual Blades is only as enjoyable as the hunter is capable of managing their stamina well. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, get in there, Yuli. Don't let me prevent you from dealing your damage. There it is. Fuck. Pressing the wrong buttons as usual. Nasty shit. Low stamina dual blades. Just what I like. AJ was expecting to fail that quest. Look, I personally felt pretty good about it. Because, I don't know, Rathian is slightly easier to deal with. Just because she's on the... You know what, it's not so much that Rathian's easier to deal with, it's more that I felt that our DPS would be considerably higher with Rathian, which would get her killed much faster. So... yeah, we did have 2 deaths, so... there was always the risk that we were going to fail, but... yeah, I didn't really expect to fail. I don't know why. I just felt like we would pull our heads in. Oh, for fuck's sake. Always. If you're fighting 2 monsters, that's it. Can barely handle the rewards. Doesn't help that I've got Psycho Serums and Mega Pickaxes in my box. That's it. Just fuck off. Or in my pouch, rather. I don't know how that quest related to Monster Hunter I, but I still think it's fucking cool that we just did a Monster Hunter I event quest. All thanks to Yuli, of course, because he has all of the Japanese DLC, which I might mention is very difficult to get a hold of. Yuli has it because he's always had it. So, there you go. Like, Yuli has probably had that DLC for over 15 years now. So, it's... I'm glad that we're hunting with him, put it that way. Yeah, you can't just go on the internet and download that shit. It doesn't exist. The people who have it, for better or for worse, keep it to themselves. It's probably not a good way of approaching it, but I also understand why they want to keep it for themselves. Yeah, it's an event quest. Again, it wouldn't really make sense to have a regular quest in the game to make reference to Monster Hunter I. That would be very strange. Alrighty, I'll use a hammer for the next quest. I'm hoping the next quest is a good choice for hammer. Maybe someone's going to troll me and, I don't know, post a Gravios. I'd probably cry if I had to use a hammer on a Gravios. But I can do it. I've done it before. In fact, I've definitely done it on camera as well. So, yeah, maybe I wouldn't cry, but I would be sad. I'd definitely be sad. Yeah, I don't know if it was to celebrate the release of the game. I'd have to check when it came out. Was it in 2006 or 2005? Although, I have to remember that Monster Hunter Portable released in 2005. So let's have a look. Does it even come up? Oh, it does. That's good. I'm glad Iceborne doesn't come up. It's actually Monster Hunter I that comes up when I type it. It was... yeah, that's probably what it would have been. So keep in mind, Monster Hunter Portable, I think, and I could always double check it, I'm pretty sure Monster Hunter Portable came out in late 2005. And then Monster Hunter I came out in February of 2006. So it would have been DLC celebrating the release of Monster Hunter I back in Portable, which is pretty cool. Ooh. Oh god, there's quite a few. Maybe you can actually emulate it now. These are pretty good screenshots of Monster Hunter I. Again, I say good screenshot not to refer to what's actually in the picture, but just the fact that it's been screenshot at all. Admittedly, for the hardware that you would have been playing this game on, it looks okay. Shockingly. Anyway. No, Monster Hunter I is on the fandom wiki, P-Berry. But yeah, I would say that it's probably pretty clear in the release, or rather, in the quest information. I can't really read the Japanese, but... yeah, my guess is that it was for the release, because Monster Hunter Portable came out before Monster Hunter I. So, that's what it would have been. What's our next quest? Once again, I may have to join back to find out. Still waiting. It's always... oh, my throat is fucked. It's always good to have an opportunity. That's a bit better, isn't it? It's always good to have an opportunity to play Monster Hunter Freedom. Again, for those of you who wonder why I don't play this game very often on my channel, it's not because I don't like the game, or because it's too monotonous, or anything like that. It's purely because I struggle to get into a good group to play with for a live stream. I can say with some confidence that that is not the case today. I have a very good team to play with, and although Hellscythe had to bow out, probably to go to sleep or something, we've been able to continue with the 3 of us for a while. It's been really good. But yeah, this game remains the first-gen game that I've played the most, and the reason why is because of the community that plays it. It's really hard for me to play with people in Monster Hunter 1. And I'm continuing with Monster Hunter 1 at the moment, so that I can then transfer my character to Monster Hunter G. I played a little bit of Monster Hunter G, but then I stopped because I realized that in Monster Hunter 1, there are certain event quests that exist in that game where you can acquire materials that can't be acquired in Monster Hunter G. So ideally you want to carry it over. So, yeah, the reason being that there are certain event quests that have yet to be made available for Monster Hunter G on the fan-made servers. But more so than that, I just wanted to build a character in Monster Hunter 1 and then transfer it anyway. So, there you are. No, that's all good. Happy to wait. What is our next hunt? We shall find out. You had to pay a monthly fee of 315 yen for Monster Hunter I, which makes no sense, because there's no fucking online functionality with that game. That's disgusting. Ugh, wow. Although if I remember... Why am I being told that my data is running low? On my phone, that is. Don't know. I presume it is because my data is running low. That's probably why I am being alerted to the fact. Are you for real? Yuli is trolling me. 2 rock wyverns. Fuck! Alright. So be it. You bugger. Alright. Hammer on Gravios. Let's do it. So what should I bring? I'm actually tempted to bring Venom Monster, and I will tell you why. I'm going to be exclusively doing spinning into Golf Swing, which means that I'll actually be getting quite a few hits off. So I think I'm going to bring Venom Monster. I like the idea of that. I don't even remember making this fucking hammer, to be honest with you. Oh, it's Basarios. I thought it was, Gravios. Apparently Yuli figured out a technique for killing these Basarios monsters without actually having them notice him. I don't know how to do that. But it has to be said that someone like Yuli is going to know techniques and strategies that are just lost to time, because he's a first-gen player, has been playing this game since it came out, and has been pretty much consistently doing so since it came out. He is through and through a first-gen hunter. And so, just, yeah, he's just got an almost hidden knowledge, a sort of esoteric understanding of the inner workings of the game, which is pretty cool. Although he's a very humble person. Yeah, the hammer spins do have good status build-up. Just because you're getting, I think 3 imps. Oh, fuck! I don't have any cool drinks. Because I'm an idiot. And if I had a Farcaster, I would bloody well use one, because now I have to make my way manually over to the monsters. So something that may have bothered you, I just thought I'd draw your attention to this fact, something that may have bothered you, if you were observant enough, when I was using my old controller, was that my character would be snapping very awkwardly when moving forward. If you have a look, you see that very, very gentle control I've got with the forward movement of my character? That's what it means to have a decent fucking analog stick. The analog stick on my previous Powerwave Accessories PlayStation 3 controller was so pathetic that it was barely... It was almost like having a D-pad and then pressing up and left to go diagonally to the left. Like, it was almost like that. It was like having a glorified D-pad on a fucking analog stick. It was just terrible. The range of movement on that analog stick. Almost unbelievable. But there you go. So I think there's one there, and one over there. We'll find this one first. Might super pound him out of the ground, if you don't mind. Again, the strategy remains the same. Basarios isn't as armoured as Gravios is, but I will still be doing spinning into Golf Swing because I am using a poison hammer. Yuli is apparently using, well, as I can see, I shouldn't say apparently, I should say evidently, Yuli is using Cluster Shot. That's a pretty cool loadout. I'll have to double check that loadout and see what he's got. I do need to do more meaningful gunning in this game. It's just hard, you know. This is a game where doing anything relating to combination is just... it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Just the inventory management. When we talk about preparing for a hunt, that's something that has become less and less of a factor with every single iteration in the series. What I have worked out is the best way to depart on quests with minimal pre-quest preparation. It's because for me, yes, I want there to be a necessity of pre-quest preparation, but I'm still going to figure out ways to reduce that as much as possible for my own convenience, because for me, I prefer the hunt than the preparation for the hunt. That's just me. It doesn't mean I don't appreciate the system, and it doesn't mean that I'm going to push for streamlining of a system like that. I prefer to operate within it. I prefer to make adjustments for my own convenience within that system than to throw it out completely or to streamline it. That's my personal preference. But when it comes to gunning, obviously you're going to be dealing with more preparation. And in a game like this, where you've only got two pages of pouch space and minimal box space, it's just made so much harder to gun. Or at least to gun in the way that Yuli is now, using something like Cluster Shot, which requires pretty frequent combining of ammunition. Well, I wouldn't agree with what you've said, P-Berry, because the suggestion that you make by using the word forgetting is that I ever intended to bring stakes in the first place. The choice to not bring stakes and or stamina recovery items is a very calculated decision that obviously has its roots in my acute laziness. Well, thank you, Ethan. I appreciate that. For those who don't know, Ethan literally works while listening to my live streams. And that's pretty cool. You know, I like that he's able to do that. So he gets the audio experience. But again, I can sit here and describe to you, with, you know, as articulately as I possibly can with the words that I have available to me in my word lexicon. But it's still not going to do justice to just how inconvenient this game is. First generation Monster Hunter is the definition of inconvenience. When I tell you guys that I wish that I had started in first generation, it's not because I think first generation is this amazing game, or this amazing period of Monster Hunter. I think it's very, very specific, and one of the only reasons why I play it as much as I do is because I am so married to traditional Monster Hunter that I need it for my own personal variety, just in my personal play of Monster Hunter. I need it just to have another option of traditional experience. Generally speaking, I'd be pretty happy to stay within the realms of 2nd to 4th gen, but I do see a lot of value in 1st because it is another sort of variation of my monster hunting experience within a traditional sense of the word. But it's extremely fucking inconvenient, and if I had started in first generation Monster Hunter, I would have literally built my understanding of the series around that inconvenience. So I would have probably... I would have the inclination to organize my inventory in the way that Yuerli might, for example. Whereas because I'm used to the convenience of Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, I'm not going to say 2nd gen, because Freedom Unite was a very specific iteration in 2nd generation that quite honestly was distinctive and different to the other games in 2nd generation, to the extent where playing Freedom 2 and DOS actually sort of feels more like 1st gen than 2nd gen if you're used to Freedom Unite. That was one of the biggest mistakes that I used to make in the past. It was talking about Freedom Unite as if it were accurately representative of the whole of 2nd generation. It really isn't. It was its own animal with its own innovations that really became staples for the series going forward. Things that you took for granted once they didn't exist when you went even to Freedom 2, the high-rank version of that game. So, I guess the point that I was ultimately trying to make there, because I got a bit distracted with tangential points, two main things I'm trying to communicate are, A, it's extremely inconvenient and I wish that I had experienced it as my only understanding of Monster Hunter, not like playing something else and then having to get used to having less, but just having less from the start and then being used to it and making do with it. But the second point is you really have to experience it. I can try and explain it as much as I can, but until you've experienced that inconvenience, you don't really know what I'm talking about. It's really bad, actually. So when I talk about needing to play 2nd gen in order to play 1st gen, it's because you need to work yourself down to it. You have to go one step at a time. But there are some people who are built very differently. Perhaps they're more malleable, more adaptable, and they can go from 4th gen and then play Monster Hunter 1 and love it. I don't know how they do that. Maybe they don't have... No, I'm not even going to say what I was about to say. What I'm going to say instead is that I get very... I tend to drown in detail. I'm very analytical and I will get very deeply involved with the game to an extent. Might sound strange because I think the way that I play can be considered more casual compared to other people, but I still absorb everything that's going on in the game in a very detailed way, despite the way in which I play. And for that reason, if I were to go from 4th generation to 1st generation, it would be overwhelming to me. I almost wouldn't be able to compute what was going on. What that would ultimately result in is a failure to appreciate what I was actually playing, because I'd be so distracted by all the changes that I wouldn't be able to experience what was intended to be shared with the gamer by Capcom. When you work yourself down to first generation, so if you're used to fourth, go and play third for a while. Then play second, like literally Freedom Unite, and then perhaps Freedom 2 or DOS. But in my opinion, you'd probably be better going from Freedom Unite to Freedom, because then you're going to have less of that repetition, I think. And then from Freedom, go and play Monster Hunter 1. And then get used to those analog stick controls. And as I explained in the previous recording, when you play Monster Hunter 1, you will literally taste what Capcom really was looking for. It's incredible when you experience it. Because when you sit back and you strip all of the inconvenience from Monster Hunter 1, and when I say strip it of that, I mean get to a point mentally where it doesn't affect you anymore. You're not sitting there being frustrated by what you don't have. You're not comparing your experience to what you're used to. You're just playing the game purely for what it is. If you didn't start in first gen, in my opinion, you have to work yourself down to that. If you started in first gen, maybe you'll be able to experience it on your own, but perhaps also you'll have a different perspective because you haven't played other Monster Hunter games. I don't know. But what I can say is that once you get to that point where you're experiencing the game just for what it is, without comparing, without having to fight what you're used to, you will actually experience authentic, straight from the heart Monster Hunter as Capcom intended, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a really, really beautiful thing. It just, one day, it clicked for me. It actually, like, gears connecting and locking into place, it was just incredible. Like, my mind was blown. I was sitting there playing Monster Hunter 1 and I was like, despite all of the time that I've spent in games like 3 Ultimate and 4 Ultimate and Freedom Unite, this game has something that none of those games have. And consequently, I can with some confidence say Monster Hunter 1 is one of the best Monster Hunter games. And then, obviously by extension, Monster Hunter G would be that as well. It's just I don't say Monster Hunter G because I don't have the same sort of experience with that game. It would be the same because it's literally the G rank version, and there's no significant change from 1 to G. So, you could interchange the words Monster Hunter 1 and Monster Hunter G, and it would still be the same thing, insofar as what I'm trying to communicate to you. It is that Monster Hunter 1 and Monster Hunter G are an experience that I deem to be essential to any person who values traditional Monster Hunter, and if you're willing to take the time to get used to it, then I think anyone can benefit. You will have a small minority of people who can literally go straight into it and enjoy it. I don't know how those people work. I'm not going to make any specific judgment on how those people work. It's probably a positive thing that you're so flexible of mind that you can just go into it and appreciate it for what it is, despite pre-established understandings of how Monster Hunter works, and then having to get yourself out of that almost mold that you've created for your vision of Monster Hunter. But, yeah, the only reason why I don't play more of that on camera is because it's hard to play with people online. Otherwise, you better believe it, I'd be playing a lot of that game on camera. I'll be playing as much as possible. Because this is coming from someone who 5 years ago thought that Monster Hunter 1 was like a bad joke. I think that's probably the context that I should have furnished you all with from the beginning. It is that I originally thought Monster Hunter 1 was this almost alpha version of Monster Hunter that was nothing more than one big mistake. It's not. In some ways it is, yes. But when I try to crystallize the concept of traditional Monster Hunter, when I describe it to you, I can honestly say that a lot of what that is was exemplified in Monster Hunter 1 and Monster Hunter G. It was done to perfection. The problem was that the game design was lacking in a lot of ways. Which might sound strange, because when I'm talking about the essence of Monster Hunter that has to relate in some way to game design, doesn't it? But you can separate game design into different aspects, into different categories. And that's almost like a starting point for a much longer conversation, which I'm not going to get into. AJ writes, it was not a mistake, MIS-STEAK, which is a good joke. But yeah, that's Monster Hunter 1. Once I can get myself to a bit of a later stage in the game, and get into groups that are consistent, I will be recording the shit out of Monster Hunter 1 and then Monster Hunter G for the channel. I want to do that. I haven't gotten to that point yet. But once I do, I will share it with you, and I hope that you guys can enjoy it. And do you know what? Getting used to using the analog stick was a big part of experiencing that really unique flavor of traditional Monster Hunter. That, as I say, exemplifies the concept of Monster Hunter. It's really weird. I don't really know. But I think getting used to that was part of what helped it click for me. Oh, here he is! It's Zod the Destroyer. He has graced us with his presence. I will try not to be destroyed by his spiritual existence in the same physical space as me. Oh, it's a no armor quest? Shit. Okay. Is it one monster at least? Please tell me it's one monster. It's in the arena. If it's no if it's no armor equipped, it had better be one monster. What is it? Let's see if I can read it. No, I can't read it. There's far too much kanji. Okay. It's marked as a 2-star quest, so I don't know what to say. I'm going to go naked with the Shining Wyvern Blade. That feels like the safest option, not knowing what it is. Have I eaten? Probably not. No, I have. I was so busy talking that I did it without even noticing. The Shining Wyvern Blade, for those who don't know it, is the highest raw damage sword and shield in this game. Oh, that's probably not true. It's one of the strongest raw sword and shields in the game, but has the best overall stats out of all the sword and shields, factoring in raw and sharpness. Okay. It's Azure Rathlos? Okay. If it's Azure Rathlos, I will bring a different weapon. I feel like we can hunt him without much difficulty. Crimson Fatalis Sword and Shield will do much nicer. At least in my mind. If it's a choice between, well, I was about to say if it's a choice between an elemental weapon and a non-elemental weapon, I'll usually go for the former. But that's only if I haven't used a lot of elemental stuff already, you know. Just for the variety, I will, at times, use a raw weapon. Hello, potato. Processing. I don't know, I'm not too concerned about success or failure on a conceptual level because we have Zod the Destroyer on our team. I wish he could actually fit all of that into his name, but he can only have Zod. Devil Slicer. Well, I'm glad he's got that at least. And it's actually appropriate for this quest as well. The Devil Slicer is the greatsword that people most often make for themselves because it's probably the easiest to forge for how effective it is. It looks really ugly, just looks like a standard Iron Path greatsword. Or perhaps some would argue that it looks like a standard path longsword. That's a semantic argument that we needn't go on at this time. But yeah. Naked quest. Oh fuck. Pressing circle instead of cross as usual. Ration! Alright. I'm going to go to the bathroom, and then I will actually help out in a moment. I have returned. Zod, the Destroyer. Zod and Zor. It's quite funny if you think about it that I have recently hunted with Zord. Oh, see, I heard Azure Rathalos, but I wasn't expecting to hunt two of them. Double Azure Rathalos naked. Why? Why are we being forced to endure this? Fuck. I don't even know what to do at this point. I'm almost scared to engage them. See why? Fuck. Someone's got the life powders out. And for good reason. Come on, get in here. It is admittedly hard. Fuck you. Can we try to be clear about which one we're hitting? Because we weren't there to take advantage of the paralysis because you were attacking the monster that almost no one else was attacking. I mean, Yurli was able to get on target pretty quickly, but I was too busy getting hit in the ass by a fireball. Shit. I mean, we can say that Zod is distracting the other one, but I don't think that's how it works. Yes, you might imagine in your brain, logically, that if Zod is engaging that one, the monster will be distracted by him, but I don't think it works like that. Are we... Okay, now we're just changing targets randomly. Why? And now the target hopefully will change again to the one that's actually in the trap. It's really unhelpful to be changing targets like this because it means that we will have to fight 2 of them together for longer. Whereas if we remain focused on one, it will reduce the time that we have to spend fighting 2 at the same time. And if we're all naked, I rather imagine that I needn't explain why it would be beneficial to spend less time fighting 2 simultaneously. Well, they have less health than I expected. After watching one of them die so soon after what I said, it almost feels like there was no need for me to make the point that I was trying to make so forcefully, but yeah, I didn't realize they had such little health. This is, oh no, this is a 2-star quest actually. These guys are low rank. I wonder what we're getting from this hunt. Nice arse, says Ethan. Yeah, check that out. Do you like it? And there we go. I had incidentally forgotten that it was a low rank quest. It's only 2-star, apparently. So that to me translates to low rank, and yeah. It's not as important for us to maintain a consistent strategy under those circumstances, but I'm wondering if we get any special rewards from all this. I hope we do. It must be to make some sort of event weapon. I was right in principle, well yeah, but anyway. I do also think you have to change your strategy according to the amount of risk that you're being faced with. Which in this case was fairly low. Magazine ticket. I'm not sure what that makes. I'll have to figure it out. I'll probably do one more hunt and then finish up. But before the next hunt, I will check to see what we can forge with those magazine tickets. I don't know if I already had them or not. I have reason to suspect that I did already have them because... oh no, never mind, sorry, I keep forgetting. They've gone into my inventory, not into my box. So. We'll see if anything new pops up here. If nothing new pops up here, it means it's armor. Which I'm not that interested in. Don't you love that we're going to page fucking 21 and I'm back to rarity 3 guns? I mean, sometimes you have to wonder what these people were smoking. Yes, Ethan, Dragon Quest swords. I'm surprised that you're so desperate for me to do a live stream of that. I don't think you've ever mentioned Dragon Quest swords to me. What suddenly gave you the inspiration to have me do a live stream of that? I remember mentioning it somewhat recently when I was talking about motion controls on the Wii. Makes a t-shirt, maybe? Yeah, probably. I'm going to start from page 32. Yeah, I would like to play Dragon Quest Swords again. It's just one of those games that's really replayable. I think the reason why is because it's an experience that I haven't had in any other game. Why is that, Doomlink? It's because I don't play first-person motion control RPGs on the Wii. Like, it's a very, very specific experience which makes it very replayable. Not in a short period of time, but over a period of years, you better believe it. I get a lot of fun out of swinging my Wii remote around and then seeing like slashing effects on the screen at the things that I'm fighting. It's so specific. I'm sure there are a few games that are like that. But Dragon Quest Swords, despite it being the only one that I've played, in my opinion is probably one of the best examples. It has to be. They seem to have done a really good job with that game. Yeah, you could be right, Palkia Dialga. It might not actually tell me that it's new. Hadn't really thought about that. So what, I'd have to fucking do this? I feel like, yeah, no, you are right, I think. Maybe I have to actually be looking at the names. Anything that looks slightly suspect. Anything that looks... Well, I was expecting to get dummy, but you see, it won't be dummy, because the event quest item is not written as a dummy. So... what the fuck? I think the reason why... Pretty sure I'm correct about this. Is because I have a translator installed for... translator installed, like it's a fucking application. I have a translation patch for Japanese stuff on here, I think. Maybe. But, yeah, I've got no fucking idea. I give up. Again, you are told very little in this game. You just have to work it out for yourself. Oh, you don't know? Well, just figure it out, mate. That's the fucking principle. This is the second time now you've told me to. Oh, the Gabas. Okay. No, I think I've made that. Or if I haven't made it, I've been close to. Making the Gabas fans. So, I believe I'm correct in saying this, but there is an infinitely spawning Kezu quest that also gives magazine tickets. Sadly, you can't get a weapon preview, but I'm pretty sure that they're fans, I think? The Gabas fans? It's not a very good weapon, though, as you can see. Also useful at a banquet. Maybe it's not the fans? I don't know. But yeah. I need quite a few more tickets before I can make those. But it's not a very good weapon. Anyway, thanks for letting me know. And that also confirms, by the way, that I do have that translation. Because otherwise, where it said Gabas, it would say dummy. Not sure what our next quest is, but yeah, I plan to do one more. Zod the Destroyer is asking for assistance, he says. Which would you choose as your all-round? Actually, let's make this a 4-choice. Devil Slicer, Red Dragon Sword, Epitaph Blade, or Scythe of Menace. How is it not obvious? Literally, how is it not obvious? Well, I understand why you would be wondering if Epitaph or Scythe of Menace would be better, but why would you imagine that for an all-rounder, it would be good to have an elemental greatsword? Anyway, no, I shouldn't be nasty about it. That's the point. That's what he asked for. Like, what would you choose as your all-round weapon? Well, the point being, of course, that if you look at something like the Double Slicer, the majority of its damage, maybe not the majority, but a huge percentage of its damage, is actually from its Thunder attribute. Now, there's nothing wrong with him making these weapons here. But to include them in a list of all-round weapons, that doesn't make any sense. Scythe of Menace between these two, I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, technically you could say that it's the better choice because it deals poison as well. I'd probably say that is the better choice. Epitaph is okay. It's not very good. It's definitely not the best greatsword. But I'd say the Scythe of Menace is better. Because obviously you have to account for the presence of white sharpness here with the Epitaph blade. But you have to see that there is an increase in inflated raw that doesn't fully account for the white sharpness, I don't think. But you can't ignore the poison. This is a game where you're not charging your greatsword. So, yeah, you're going to be building up poison much faster here in this game with the greatsword than you would be in a second gen game. So this is hugely effective. Like, between having it and not having it, the Scythe of Menace is definitely the better choice. Alrighty. I don't think Yuerli plays Try, no. He was playing 3G, but has been playing less of that because the community really fell off a cliff. So he's been playing a lot of 3 Ultimate. The Thunderous Duo. Is this Standard Kezu or Red Kezu? I'll ask him. Well, maybe I can go based on the weapons that they're using. I hadn't even thought to do that. Blue Tail. Fire. Red Prominence. Fire. There's my answer. It's Standard Kezu. I should try to be a little bit more self-sufficient when it comes to figuring things out. I'll bring Auto Tracker. And Fire Greatsword. There's the Scythe of Menace, by the way, but I wouldn't be using it for this quest. Definitely not. Kezu has quite high resistance to poison. Let's not forget to eat. Also, I should mention that the entire lack of ability that the French community of Monster Hunter has in playing Monster Hunter games is fulsomely counterbalanced by the fact that Yurli exists. Because believe it or not, he's a French Monster Hunter player. So for all the things that I've said, for all the epithets that I have spouted about the French Monster Hunter community, it has to be said that Yurli is a French Monster Hunter player. So, there you are. I'd better put this stuff away. I will be quick about it. In fact, I'm going to use the speed up. I'm just going to walk around stupidly while speeding up. It's going to be really helpful. Alright. Hello, Crimson Gunner. Good to see you again. What I will say is that for someone who has subscribed for 19 months, I don't see much of you, but I thank you very much for your subscriptions. But yeah, good to see you again. I probably just don't stream at a good time for you. But again, if this is a good time for you right now, then expect to see me streaming at this time from now on. Yurli's looking exceedingly fashionable today. Looks like me in 4 Ultimate, actually. I would assume it's some sort of luck-based set. Hello. I am paintballing for the benefit of the team, not for my benefit. Because I spawned here, I'm just going to go for this one first. Hopefully they come and hunt with me. I don't think there's any benefit in hunting any Kezu in particular, but it looks like this one has chosen to ignore me. So, whatever. What? The French players are the dominant nationality in the meta game? Like among players? Like, are you sure? You could be right, and I just didn't know. Like, I don't follow those sort of players, but are you sure? Again, I'm not seeking to malign the French players, it's just for anyone who has a lot of experience playing with them as I do, they're quite consistently terrible. And I still don't know why that is. I've got nothing against them. It's just, you know. Yes, it's anecdotal experience, but it's so clearly demonstrated in my experience that, you know, it's possible. I don't know. I feel like it's mostly the Japanese, and then outside of that it's almost negligible, I would say. Like, it's predominantly Japanese, and then once you leave that territory, it can be anywhere in the world, I feel. But if you've seen French players, then fair enough. Well, you say during the 4 Ultimate era, but maybe that's just a symptom of lots and lots of French players playing 4 Ultimate, because yeah, that was a thing that was happening. That was during the peak of their engagement. Most of them got on board in 3rd gen and then really took off in 4th. But yeah. Yeah, the Crimson Gunner has summarized it pithily and effectively. I can't shield that in time, but I can. But I can. Yeah. That's the Kezu experience. And now I have to sharpen again. Just have to get the hell away from these walls. Or, I guess we'll just say the edge of the map. I will sharpen. I should double check to see if it's even worth sharpening up to this. It's not quite worth sharpening up to that. It's just a little sliver of white. And he's dead. Poor bastard. I have absolutely... Well, despite what I just said, despite what just came out of my mouth, I have no empathy whatsoever. Also, pale lips. Just thought I would make it abundantly clear to all of you that I have just carved pale lips. And for those who are not informed, they produce powerful suction. And for those who need further confirmation of this fact, the lips of a Kezu, and they are able to generate powerful suction. The lips themselves generate the suction. Has nothing to do with the breath of the Kezu, or the shape of the mouth. The lips, like this business, the lips generate it. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. I can understand how it can help with the suction. Like it can facilitate effective suction, but to generate the suction, that doesn't make much sense to me. That's why I think pale lips are pretty extraordinary. Like, they're so unique and significant that they're utterly incongruent with my understanding of suction as a concept. That's how incredible they are. Kezu's pale lips. And for anyone who needs further clarification as to what the pale lips even are, they are his arse lips. Okay? So, because, you know, when's he sucking? That's the question. When is Kezu sucking? He's doing it now. See that? He's sucking. The answer is, he's sucking when he's doing his thunder, and he's sucking when he's hanging off the ceiling. Look at him. Those are the lips that we're talking about. Which may please you or displease you depending on your disposition. Depending on your preferences. Ugh. Kezu is a penis. He's definitely a penis. Penis lips. I did press the button to do the attack. I'm supposed to not have issues with input detection. What's going on? Ow. I got smacked in the face by his little John. His little Johnson. He's whipping it around. And kissing me with it, in fact. Just to add a more grotesque element to it. Oh yeah. Now he's positioned his big Johnson right where I need it. Sometimes you don't even need to ask. It's just there. Right where you needed to be. Where you going? I'm sure many of you thought that he was leaving. He's not. It's not that he has anywhere to go, it's just that he has these sudden and inexplicable urges to just walk around the ceiling. Maybe it's for his exercise, I'm not sure. I feel like he's getting enough exercise hunting us right now, but no, he's got a little routine. I suppose we're actually getting in the way of it. Okay. God, he's shedding the kilos as we speak. I mean, this guy, he's working the cardio. His cardiovascular system is on overdrive as we speak. I can literally watch the kilos shedding from his skin. Sorry, the pounds. He's shedding the pounds. Yes, I also live in the 18th century. He's shedding the pounds. I don't know if pound was in the 18th century. Let's just say 19th century. To avoid sounding even more misinformed than I probably already am. Really? So again, for the avoidance of doubt, Ethan actually works at a bar. He usually listens to my sultry, mellifluous voice. It's probably a little bit self-gratifying, or a form of self-congratulatory language. Shouldn't describe myself as mellifluous. But the point is, he usually has it in his ear. He's apparently got it on the speaker. Can you believe that this winged penis has been climbing the walls for the best part of 3 minutes? All we want to do is hit it. Okay. And it won't get off the wall. And quite frankly, I don't think you require detailed context to what I've just said. AJ is asking, is this real? The answer is yes. I made it very clear that Kezu has an exercise routine. What if he's chasing me? Because if you think about it, the two things that have remained constant during the entire duration of his little journey across the ceiling is the fact that he's moving around and the fact that I'm moving in a clockwise direction away from him. So what if he's trying to follow me? Maybe he's trying to look for me. I mean, he can't actually see with his eyes because he doesn't have any eyes. When was the last time you looked at a penis and it had a pair of eyes on it? Well, just because they're trying as hard as they can to make this monster have the, not only the appearance of, but the same anatomy as a penis, they decided to not give him any eyes. So with that taken into consideration, he probably can't actually look at us and see us, but I think he's trying to follow me. Alright. Let's see if my theory is correct. I'm going to go in a counterclockwise direction now. Again, you don't need to take my word for it when I say that first generation is a special kind of thing. See, no, he has aligned himself with me several times. It was me. Do you know what? I think it was me. I think he was trying to reach me, and I was just avoiding him the whole time. And so he couldn't finish his animation until he aligned with me. He had to continue doing that. That's extraordinary. Yeah, I agree. That was engaging gameplay. Talk about delaying the inevitable. Oh, that was incredible. Do I still play Generations Ultimate? Yes, I do. I've just played a lot of it, and I think there's more value in playing this game personally. Do I even need to explain why, after what you just witnessed? It's way better playing a game like this. Yule is giving me something. Thanks. I can't really give you pale lips. If I could give you pale lips in return, I would do so. It's actually helpful to have pale extract, I'll take that. Ethan, if I could imagine the one thing that I would want least, it is what you just said in the chat. That is it's incredible. I actually can't even imagine popularity that I would be least interested in. Outside of what you've just written in the chat. I think OnlyFans would probably be the only place where I would be less likely to want to build an audience. Sorry, there are other examples. I would rather have an audience of people on Omegle than on TikTok. I'd rather go on chat roulette naked than have an audience on TikTok. Seriously. Like, I consider a TikTok audience, and in fact, to even be on TikTok, to be an example of an even lower form of self-respect than to strip naked with a webcam and go on chat roulette. Hand on heart. Because at least on chat roulette, I'm not debasing the future of humanity while I'm there. All I'm doing is being a creepy little shit in a small niche community, rather than actually almost permanently reducing the collective IQ of humanity. So there you go. I do thank you all for watching. This has been a fun live stream. Always good to get a solid, I think that must be 3 hours, isn't it? Yeah, 3 hours and 40 minutes of Monster Hunter Freedom 1. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it really does happen, doesn't it? That was definitely a, if you pardon the phrase, that was definitely a climactic final hunt. Because, you know, penises. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time I'm recording Monster Hunter, and I bid you all farewell for now. Bye-bye.